Now available for pre-order on Kindle. Stop Simping in Cyberspace. Learn how to avoid predatory females in their virtual con games with Stop Simping in Cyberspace. Pre-order your copy of Stop Simping in Cyberspace on Kindle today. Now available in paperback and e-readers. Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess. The goddess next door takes on the threat of a deadly digital diva driven to destroy the world in this action-packed, all-new Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess featuring a bonus pin-up and the other 2 books in the Cyber Goddess saga at online bookstores everywhere today. You often hear many of these feminists and SJWs complaining about the lack of representation of strong heroines in superhero movies and action movies. And they use this as a justification for characters like your Rey, your Captain Marvel, and even characters like your Wonder Woman and Black Widow being groundbreaking as related to the genres of superhero movies and action movies. Now, I find it interesting that many of these feminists and SJWs often overlook the entire careers of actresses Milla Jovovich and Kate Beckinsale. Now, your Milla Jovovich, for the last 15 years, has starred in multiple action movies and has been a bankable box office star in the action genre. Now, your Milla Jovovich, over the last 15 or so years, since the early to mid-2000s, has played numerous strong heroines in action movies like Ultraviolet and the Resident Evil franchise. And your Milla Jovovich has opened many of these movies and been #1 at the box office. However, many of your feminists and your SJWs won't sit here and talk about Milla Jovovich, who has played multiple strong heroines in the action genre for over 15 years and has been a bankable star participating in these kinds of roles. Nor will you hear any feminist talking about actress Kate Beckinsale, who has been the lead in the Underworld franchise and has taken that franchise and turned it into a multi-million-dollar franchise. You won't hear any of the feminists talking about either of these women who have been playing heroines since the 2000s and the 2010s. And the reason why you won't hear many of the feminists and the SJWs talking about your Milla Jovovich or your Kate Beckinsale is because they do not fit the narrative that they're trying to push regarding the shortage of roles for your heroines in action movies. No, many of these feminists and SJWs, they don't want to talk about actress Milla Jovovich, who has starred again in movies like your Ultraviolet and carried an entire franchise like Resident Evil, and has even played one of the feminist icons, Joan of Arc, because it does not fit the narrative they want to push, which is saying, oh, there's a shortage of roles that feature women in action movies. Nor do they want to talk about Kate Beckinsale, who has gone out here and starred in the blockbuster Underworld franchise, because they want to sit here and all they want to talk about is, oh, there's a shortage of roles featuring women, and there's a shortage of roles featuring women playing heroines, and the whole narrative that men don't want to go out here and see movies featuring heroines. Well, men went out here in large numbers, and they had no problem going out here to see Milla Jovovich in the entire Resident Evil franchise, which grossed over $1 billion. And many men had no problem watching all of the Underworld movies, which has grossed over hundreds of millions of dollars. And I think that one did over $1 billion as well at the box office internationally. So many of these people, they want to sit here and again talk about how there's not in that many franchises, there's not that many movies. Well, here were two women who starred in franchises and did very well in the 2000s and the 2010s, but we didn't get anything groundbreaking in the eyes of the feminist and the social justice warrior until your Wonder Woman came along in 2017 and your Captain Marvel came after that. For them, those were groundbreaking films, but they don't want to talk about any of the other films that were produced before then. And again, that just shows how distorted their narrative is, and it shows how they're not really being honest about presenting the facts, because they're sitting here trying to tell everybody, oh, men don't want to go see a strong heroine, but men have been going out here and seeing movies featuring heroines for years. What most men and women and even children don't want to see is a movie that goes out here and pushes your identity politics and then goes out here and features a heroine who is only there just to talk about how much of a woman she is and how she has to go out here and be this victim of being oppressed and go out here and virtue signal about how bad things are for her. That's why people did not connect with Rey from Star Wars. That's why people don't like the Carol Danvers Captain Marvel. And that's why people were having issues with the recently released Black Widow and the previously released Wonder Woman 1984. All of those films did not feature a heroine going out here and kicking butt like Kate Beckinsale did in Underworld, or Milla Jovovich did in Ultraviolet, or the Resident Evil movies. Those movies never got any sort of press from your feminists and your SJWs, but those were films that fans loved and had no problem going out here and spending money to go out here and see. So when you take a critical examination of the argument talking about the so-called lack of representation, you can clearly see the lies behind it, because, again, if people had a problem with movies featuring heroines, then why did the Resident Evil franchise make over $1 billion? And why did the Underworld franchise go on to make hundreds of millions of dollars and spawn multiple movies? Both of those franchises did extremely well, and those actresses, Milla Jovovich and Kate Beckinsale, became international stars. But nobody ever talks about the success of those women. No, all we get is the same old feminist narrative of, oh, there's no representation of women, but there has been representation of women ever since the days of Alien and Terminator, and there's still representation going on, but no one wants to talk about that in Hollywood and the social justice circles, because they want to push victimization because they believe that will get their projects greenlit. Unfortunately, most people don't want to watch these woke versions of characters. They want to see the versions of characters where the heroine is fighting the bad guys and beating them up. That's what people want pay to go see. But many of your Hollywood types, they want us to believe the narrative, oh, there's not enough representation. Well, again, what was your Ultraviolet? What was Resident Evil? What was Underworld? Here were some franchises nobody wants to talk about, and the main reason they don't want to talk about them is because they just don't fit the narrative that your social justice warriors want to push as related to your strong women. No, in their world, we need more Reys and we need more Black Widows, but we really want more Underworlds, we want more Resident Evils, and we want more actors like Milla Jovovich and Kate Beckinsale who can go out here and play a great character and kick butt on the merits and put together a fantastic story that just draws us in and makes us care about the story. Now, if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to try some of my SJS Direct publications featuring heroines like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy and the Thetas, you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them on Smashwords, the iBook Store, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and Kindle, Vampires Stalk the Darkness of the Eternal Night. Get your copy of Eternal Night in paperback and Kindle on Amazon.com.